Welcome to Delkevic on YouTube.
You've ordered your exhausts, they've been delivered, but now maybe you're staring at a box on the garage floor, wondering what to do next. This video has been designed to provide you with a few additional hints and tips in order to get those exhausts from the box and onto your bike with the minimum of fuss. So keep watching to find out more. Welcome to another video. So, you've been asking, we've been listening, here it is. A general fitting guide for our ever popular full exhaust system for the ever popular Honda VFR800. So, if you've got one, you'll know that there's quite a few generations, and obviously they've all got that V4 engine in common, so much of this video will be applicable to all the systems, but obviously through the generations there were differences in the level of the exhaust mounting, twin, single, etc, blah blah blah. So we decided to use a 5th gen Mark V VFR, and much of what's in this video will count for all of them, and in fact some of our exhausts for this bike will fit later models anyway. It's the same kit. So if you've got a VFR, keep watching. You should have had a box delivered to you somehow that looks a bit like this, and in that box is something that looks like this. Now you'll notice that this is broken down into parts, not a full assembled one-piece system like the OE downpipes are. You'll notice that there are numbers on each of the pipes on what is essentially the collector and on the pipes, and they go together basically like a jigsaw puzzle. It's helpful for you just to slot it together loosely on a table before you start. So first things first, check the contents against a packing list, which you should have had either via email or one in the box. And assuming that's all good, then as an additional thing, I would recommend getting hold of the workshop manual and print off all the relevant pages that you think you're going to need for your torque settings. We'll supply torque settings for the clamps that we supply, but we always refer you to the manufacturer's setting for everything else. And so it's all in the Honda shop manual. When you're opening the box, always use a box cutter that's adjustable, and you can put it on the minimum setting so you don't scratch anything. Pay particular attention to the pipes as well. I also would recommend using some black insulation tape and just popping them around the pipes here to stop the collar slipping down and scratching the pipe as you're working and as you're installing stuff. Don't put too much on, because obviously you've got to take it off before you start the bike. You don't want this to burn on. And then I would also recommend some kind of silicone lubricant, either one that's designed specifically as a lubricant or one that's a silicone spray used for dressing rubber and plastic and that kind of thing. It all pretty much works the same. And this is essential really for anything where you're tightening a clamp on stainless steel to prevent the threads galling or sticking, and that's what stainless steel does. And also don't tighten the clamps up with a mechanical any kind of electric tool, because it will be too fast and it will cause the stainless steel to stick. So just use your hand tools only. So let's have a look at this then. We're going to be using a 350 oval stainless steel exhaust for this particular one, but obviously they all work pretty much the same way once you get up to the exhaust. So you've got the collector, the link pipe, and the downpipes. So we'll get it like this and try and sort of mimic roughly how it is on OEM, like that. And we take the number 1 pipe and we put it in the number 1 slot like that. And then we take the number 2 and put it in like that. And immediately you might look at it and think, well, that's not quite right, they don't line up. But actually, if you do look at the engine, the ports do face inward that way. And then we take the number 3 pipe. Yeah, 3, and that's number 3. And you can see that these mate up like that. And some people, I think, have issues with this because they expect the back to match the front, but actually if you look at the engine, that's different as well. So they kind of face, they're more parallel. And people have looked at this and thought, oh, that's not quite right. So we do number 4. Now this is just a very loose kind of thing, just to see where it's all, so you can familiarize yourself with it. And that's roughly how it's going to sit in the bike. These two don't look like the front. We've looked inside the box. Now let's have a look at what you need to do with your bike. The first thing you need to do is get it on a flat level surface and secure it, so it's not going to accidentally fall on top of you while you're working. I'm lucky enough to be able to work on a bench. You're probably not going to be so fortunate, maybe you're on your garage floor or something, but as long as the bike's not going to topple over. I've got some straps secured on the back luggage rack here. I would probably recommend using something towards the rear of the bike in case you need to move the handlebars to get better access to the front downpipes. As you can see here, I've removed the panels, everything below the seat level, the frame. So the side panel here, the front black center V panel, and the panel on the other side. They've got to come off. Now, looking at the footrest hanger, you can get access to the bolts that will allow you to remove the downpipes, but it's going to be pretty tight. So I would recommend removing the rear footrest hanger as well. This one, you will need to remove this rear fairing, the seat, etc., to gain access to the 2 bolts if you're fitting a high level exhaust kit. But if you're not, then you don't need to disturb anything. In this video, we're going to be fitting the standard level exhaust kit because that's relevant for the widest variety of VFRs. If you've got exhausts that go up to high level, then consult your workshop manual on how to remove this. It's important that you install the downpipes in the correct order. If you don't, it will become a little bit more complicated and you might struggle to line things up. So I've already done pipe number 1 first, then pipe number 2, working from the back of the other side of the bike towards me and then round. And then you don't do pipe 3, you do pipe 4. To create a gas tight seal between the downpipes and the exhaust port, you need copper gaskets. This is just a standard thing. Now, you don't need any other kind of sealant with them, technically, because they deform and create the seal. But it's pretty awkward to try and put these up into the exhaust port and then expect them to stay there while you're trying to put the pipe in the port. So what we recommend is using some sealant to make the gasket slightly sticky so it sticks to the port and stays in position. I'm going to take pipe 4 and we're going to insert it like that, just this half pipe here, like that. To help me do this, it's a good idea to get a small socket and try and get as long as an extension as possible. I recommend taking the extension, putting it through, and then threading this one in that hole like that, just to get it started, and then we go around the other side. So I've got it so the threads are just caught. So now we need to line it up a little bit more carefully and just put them on a little bit more, not too much though. That's stuck number 4 in very loosely, and now we do number 3. Getting access to this final nut is tricky. It's going to take a little bit of wiggling around with your fingers. Now we'll put it together properly. So to do this, we use the exhaust sealant, and you don't put it onto that pipe. You put it into the pipe with the compression slots, and you don't put it around the top. You put it just below where the compression slots are in a continuous small line around the inside of the tube. You don't want to put too much, just enough to guarantee the seal. It should seal anyway. After you've done that, just a quick spray of silicone inside, just to help it slide on and not to scratch, etc. You do this for this one, and you also do it for the link pipe, and put your clamp on, ready to go. So again, we'll probably, we've got these in place, resting on this. So you can see we put this one in. Okay, so it's a good idea to put these in. So I'd say we'll put 3 in first because it's the lower one here. Just pop it down like that, and put 4 in after that. And then again, I would do probably 4 first, like this, get it kind of lined up. As you're tightening these up, one thing to remember is to try and keep them flat against the face of the exhaust port. You'll be able to feel when it's kind of correct. Remember not to do anything up too tight. We're just tightening things up now so faces mate against each other. Final alignments can be checked. Pipes 1 and 2 are in. They'll take a little bit of wiggling to get them to sort of work their way down until their final fit there. And then you'll see the 2 tabs on top, the 2 loops. That's where you'll mount your springs. And then the last one in is number 3. And maybe adjusting the position of the boxes to help support the weight of this assembly. So this will need tweaking as you adjust it as it goes in. To tighten the bolt on the other side on pipe number 4, you need the shortest possible extension on a socket. Wrench or spanner. To get access to the other bolt, you're going to need to lengthen your extension to get access to that one. Again, using a small 1/4 inch socket like this will probably be your best bet. There probably is a best way to do these clamps, which will give you the best clearance. This one on this side, so pipe number 4 with the thread facing the heat shield, that's going to give you, it's going to clear the swing arm, and then on the other side, the thread facing the other way, so it doesn't foul the other clamp. And checking it now, you can kind of see that that's pretty much where it's supposed to be. We're ready now to start thinking about tightening up the exhaust studs. I'm tightening them up, these clamps, and because I put silicone on them, they're tightening up nice and evenly and not sticking. These now, as they've been tightened up against the exhaust port, they have an even alignment and they're not touching. And again, there are loops on each of the exhaust pipes to a loop on the collector. It's advisable to put these springs on, so get them both hooked at one end onto the spring. So I would say the way these work is they both go on one end at the same time. So I would say do that end first. The bolt on the other side of pipe number 2 is going to require going from the other side to get access. So we're on the final stretch now. You've got this kind of first link pipe and the second link pipe. At the beginning of the video, I referred to the link pipe as a link pipe, but technically it consists of 2 parts, so it's link pipes. Now you have one part that comes from the collector, this part, and you have a second part which connects to it, and that takes it to the exhaust right there. Why do we do it in 2 parts? Our system isn't just sold as a system, it's sold as downpipes only. And some people might want to put their existing exhaust or the OE exhaust onto just the replacement downpipes, in which case you just have this bit. Some people buy the exhaust kit, so they buy the exhaust and this part of the link pipe, which goes onto the OE downpipes, so it's this bit. And then obviously if you want the full system, you have both halves. And it also enables us to have a different link pipe assembly without making a whole big new link pipe for people who want high level pipes or for the VFR800 VTech, etc. So that's why this is in 2 parts. This goes together pretty much like this. You'll find it easier if you do it when it's off the bike. So you slide them into each other like that. And then kind of, they need to be kind of similar levels. And then this goes in to the collector. And then that lines you up with your exhaust here, roughly. So then we have the strap here and the exhaust here. Now, I'm not going to go into how to put the strap on in this video because we've already done a video for that. And we're not going to go into aligning the exhaust, what you need to do, and fitting this on here because we've already done a video for that. So the links for both of those videos are in the description. This video has been specifically for the VFR800 and what you need to know to get to the stage where you can just pop that on. We will do it now quickly just to show you how easy it is once we've got to this stage here. You can see this goes on like this, and don't forget to put some sealant in there as well. Now the link pipe is connected to the second link pipe, which is connected to the exhaust, you can see here, and it's all kind of lining up under its own weight. So the final bit is to put the strap around the exhaust like so, and put the OE bolt through, and try not to drop too many washers while you're doing it. As you can see, you'll notice that I'm doing things slowly, bit by bit, so we're kind of inching our way towards getting it. So that is now pretty much where it needs to be. So I'm going to tighten this one up a little bit more now. It's to a degree it's a matter of personal choice where you how you arrange your clamps, probably just whatever works for easiest access. We have 2 types of clamps. These are the main clamp for the exhaust. It's now a double clamp. And we have the standard single clamp. Where you have a single clamp, the edge of the clamp should be just off the crescent of the top of the compression slot. If you cover the compression slot entirely, you're trying to compress the tube, and that's going to make it more difficult, and you're going to have to tighten the clamp too tight. So it needs to be so you can see just the top of the crescent of the compression slot. So we need to just put the springs on. None of this now is particularly difficult, it's just a question of access really. We'd advise wearing goggles perhaps when you're doing this, just in case something you let go of something accidentally. As in the other videos, we mentioned there are a few things you need to do now once it's fitted. You need to go around and tighten all the bolts to the specified torque setting, and then you need to run the bike up to check for leaks. I would say a good 15 to 20 minutes, let everything get nice and warm, and then just see, make sure there's no leaks. Have a good look around the system, check everything is to your satisfaction, and don't forget to remove the black insulation tape that I recommended you put near the top of the exhaust to hold the collar in place. Don't forget to remove these small stickers as well. That sounds like a small thing, but they will, with the heat, burn on, and they'll be incredibly difficult to remove once they're burnt on. So remove those from the collector as well. And then you're good to go for a ride.
Thanks for watching this video. We hope it's been informative and that you've enjoyed it. Please show your appreciation by clicking the like button and also subscribing, which will enable us to keep you up to date with our latest content releases and special offers.